Hello and welcome to the Official Watchers YouTube channel. Here today in Jardin du Mayfair, heaven on earth for the watch enthusiast, I have an extremely special guest. My special guest today is Torre. Welcome, Torre.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming.
Pleasure.
Torre is a hard man to get hold of. We've been trying to get him on the channel for a good couple of months. You can normally find him in the Maldives or racing a sports car, but he has joined us today in Jardin du Mayfair. So, Torre, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. We've got some amazing watches to discuss together. You are a huge AP fan, so we're going to get right into that. Torre is an extremely special customer of ours, and I'm delighted to have him on the channel. Torre, I'm going to proceed to bombard you with a series of questions. Let's get started. So, first off, can you give us a quick overview of what you do? I know you're a business owner, Innovation Markets, and you're also a Forex and crypto investor. But if you could give us a couple of minutes for a sort of idiot's guide as to what you actually do and the kind of investment sort of understanding this modern phenomenon.
So I'm a longer term investor these days. I tend to weather the markets with a longer term perspective. So most people, I've kind of steered away from leverage these days and opt instead to just play the market cycles over many, many years. So it's a bit more of a slower approach compared to most people. I essentially wait for the absolute lows to come through, which can sometimes take years. In this current instance, we're in a 700-day bear market on this very day.
700
marks
days.
the 700th day of being in a bear market.
Wow.
And I don't think it's over yet.
Wow.
So a lot of it, compared to what most people tell you it is, it's waiting. Yeah. It's a patience game. It's not. I'm quite different to most people because I teach get rich slow. That's kind of my slogan and thesis for the markets, whereas most people are chasing endless quick riches, end up with long-term consequences. Whereas I prefer to sit through the market, potentially with no investments made, for months to years, wait for the absolute best possible moments, which are normally at the height of fear, when no one wants to buy.
Right, interesting.
And crypto is quite interesting because the period where the money is made is a window of maybe 3 to 4 weeks to maybe 2 months, if you're lucky. Which means if you're not involved before that happens, you're going to miss out.
Wow.
So the most important part of crypto investing is getting in before it really starts to take off.
Amazing, amazing. One of the things I've noticed about Torre is he had a huge Instagram following, and we'll pop the link to his Instagram in the description, is I like the fact that you don't do get rich quick. You don't sort of promote that kind of thing, because much like with watches in the watch industry, Instagram is flooded with people that are sort of just pretending and not really doing it correctly. And I think, the sort of thought that you could get a 10,000% trade deal overnight on a crypto is just rubbish, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think crypto's damaged the perception of investors, because you go back to 2010 and people will tell you if you had held BTC from 2010 to 2023, you'd be up 500,000% or something ridiculous. And that affects people psychologically, because then they kind of believe that every investment they must make is going to be thousands and thousands of percent. But for me, it's about always connecting back to the real world. That's very important. You compare stocks or hedge funds, which aim for 15, 20% a year ROI. Crypto is still giving you 50 to 100, 200, 300% at the right opportunities.
Yeah.
But people don't want that. People want millions.
Yeah.
They want to turn £100 into £1 million overnight, just buying any random coin.
Yeah.
And that is where most people end up losing more money than they expected. Whereas if you just be grateful, and that's always what I do, you think of the cost of living crisis, the world and economy isn't exactly getting any better.
Yeah.
If you get 100% return on investment, you take that money out of the market.
Of course.
And it's funny you say I've got a lot of followers, because I personally feel I don't, in comparison to most cryptocurrency traders and mentors out there, because I tell people what they don't want to hear.
Yeah.
And that's what makes me quite unpopular in the crypto world, if anything. Whereas if you continuously sell people dreams and promise them they'll be able to, quit the 9 to 5 overnight, turn £100 into £1 million, people tend to follow those narratives instead, because that's what people want.
Yeah, and I see a lot of those accounts that pop up, and they tend to just be from extremely wealthy families anyway. So you know, mums and dads with 50 million and stuff, and they're just like, yeah. So it's really easy. You just do this, and look, I've got a boat, and look, I've got a thing. But it's 100%. Like not really, is it?
It's 99% of what you see on social media is fake.
Of course,
absolutely fake. That's the one. Not to be egotistical, but the one thing that I try to do to stand out as much as possible. It's just be as transparent as possible, showing my trades, showing my portfolio, showing the journey, and also showing where I can go 5 months without making an investment because it's simply not the right time to get in. And that's what's lacking in the space.
Very clever, very clever. No get rich quick schemes here. So you've obviously been really successful at it. Was it something that you started to do as an investment sidebar while you were doing other jobs, or did you just wake up one day and make that conscious decision to be like, I'm going to do this as a full-time career?
Well, it actually kind of spawned at the same time I was doing Forex. I was a barber at the time. I was doing an apprenticeship, hairdressing apprenticeship, L&D Academy. It was. So it was, I never went to university because I've always believed that, especially with the cost of university, I didn't really want to go down that route. My parents, my dad especially, was like, you need to go uni, you need to get a degree. Very, you know, the Turkish parenting was very forceful in that time. And I kind of just said, you know what, for the cost, we don't have the money for the university anyway at that time. So we're going to have to get into debt. And it just didn't make sense to me to go and pursue a career that I didn't really, at that time, know I wanted to do. You know, what was I going to do? Just take up a random course and like gardening or hairdressing. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go straight into work, and then ended up wanting to become a barber. And then throughout that period, we went to a uncle's house one time, and it was the first time I was really exposed. I was probably about 15 years old to a really big house. You know, we weren't poor, but we were just doing okay, working class family. And we went to my uncle's house, and it was the first time I'd ever seen a house that big. It was somewhere in Essex. And we kind of just said, we didn't even know the house was like that. And we said, you know, what do you do for a living? And he was like, oh, I trade Forex, blah, blah, blah. And he was scalping the Forex market at the time, back when it was much easier to trade. And he gave my dad these CDs or DVDs. And my dad was like, I'm too old for this, you take it and do it. And I've always been a heavy gamer, or obsessed with computers, video games, etc. So it kind of just became a new kind of video game to me. I just picked it up, started trading Forex. Unlike most people, it took me like 5 years. It wasn't until my 20s that it really started to pick up and make sense. And that's another thing I teach people. It could take you 10 years, 20 years. You never really, a lot of people tell you it's one of those things where you can just learn in a year, profitable, live the high life. That is completely
straight out
incorrect. Yeah, it's the complete opposite of that Dubai lifestyle. It's a horrible game, because unlike most other careers with Forex, crypto, trading, whatever it is, you have to lose money to learn a lesson. Every single lesson comes with a financial or mental cost.
Yeah.
It's affecting you psychologically, and financially you're losing money with every mistake you make. So you kind of have to lose a lot of money, make every single mistake possible, and then it starts to make sense, but only if you learn from the mistakes you make. It's a horrible game.
I can imagine.
But I just stuck to it. Demo for several years, started making a bit of money. Even, you know, I was happy with £5 a day at that time, because I was in an apprenticeship making maybe £1,000 a month back then. And then naturally, as things started progressing, my attention spanned over to crypto, started hearing things about the dark web and all this crazy stuff. And then I was like, I want to get involved in this. So I just started buying some Bitcoin when they were maybe about less than $100, maybe even $50 at the time. Wow. I have really bad memory, but I know it was very, very cheap. Wow. And it was not necessarily for an investment purpose. I was just like, I want to hold some of these things that people are talking about. And then as time went on, a lot of the exchanges, platforms and marketplaces, they were shut down, they went bust. So I lost hundreds of Bitcoins over the years as well. And then I kind of said, you know what, fuck this, basically. I'm going back to Forex. And then as the years progressed, just before 2017, when crypto started booming, it was a huge bull run in 2017. And it was actually an old friend and an old business partner of mine that mentioned Ethereum. And at the time, it was trading for around $6.
Oh my goodness.
So fortunately, because I hadn't gone uni, I had no debts, I had no liabilities. And at that time, I'd then progressed into a job at Sky. So I was doing TV editing at Sky, editing live TV, etc. And through a lot of overtime, share plans, all that stuff, I'd managed to save about, I think it was around 50 grand at that time, which for me wasn't too bad. I put it all into
Very
Ethereum.
Did you?
I put every single penny into Ethereum.
Wow.
I liquidated the pension schemes. I liquidated the share plans. Everything in savings went into Ethereum. And I scaled in from around $6 to $26 approximately. Tried to get my dad in. Tried to get my now fiance in. They weren't really, they were like, you are an absolute psychopath. There is no way, this is a scam. What is this? What the hell is Ethereum? I was like, just trust me, it's going to work. And it ended up working.
Wow.
And then that was really the boost for me that obviously turned a relatively good sum into a substantial sum. And that was what
Good for
got
you,
the ball
man.
rolling from there. So
Good
it was
for
a bit
you.
of, I'll be honest, there was obviously an element of luck in there as well. But simultaneously, I'm a big believer in you create your own luck. And
Absolutely.
if I didn't kind of go down that trading route in the first place, if I didn't kind of have the incentive to start entering into that world and mingling with the people involved in that world, that opportunity probably wouldn't have arisen. So it was almost a 50% contribution from my half, which generated the remaining 50% of luck. That's how I view it anyway.
Hey, listen, and you were so brave, everyone's family was telling them, what are you doing? You're mad, like, especially the generation above us, you know what I mean? Like, you're a young man, like, your parents, your grandparents would be like, what are you doing? And you're sitting on Reddit going,
And I was the guy on Reddit, just make an anonymous account being like, moon, soon. And it's just, it defies all logic of what your family would ever want and hope their son to become.
Yeah.
But it worked out.
Good for you, man. I love that. So at time of filming, so you said you were getting an Ethereum at $6 at the time of filming. What is it, £1,100 today?
Yeah, around them prices, just above.
So it will come as no surprise to you that we sell a lot of watches using cryptocurrency. So that's why I generally, every morning I'll check, to make sure that I know what I'm talking about when people offer us crypto for a watch. And we do accept cryptocurrency here. So it's obviously becoming an extremely popular way to buy a watch. Because obviously you can essentially get it with your gains, can't you? You know what I mean? So if you've made a good deal and you're doing well on crypto, you can turn it into a watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do have a feeling the watch market prices are slightly correlated to cryptocurrencies.
Absolutely.
Because if you look at the boom, it was around 2021, just as crypto went to BTC especially went to $69,000.
Yeah.
It just happened to have timed when watches really started to boom.
Yeah, no, we definitely see a lot of crypto coming through, and it's sort of more often than not from young, cool guys like yourself, managed to do it. So that is such a lovely story. Thank you so much for sharing that. That is really lovely. So there's a saying that money never sleeps, and I particularly subscribe to that saying when I'm on WhatsApp 24/7, talking to people in Hong Kong in the middle of the night. My wife's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Trying to sell a watch." So they say money never sleeps, and this is particularly appropriate when you're dealing with constantly moving international markets. So we see that you work from various locations, including all the stunning sunsets and beach views that you like. So do you schedule in downtime according to what the markets are up and down, or do you make conscious decisions to take a few days off of your computer, or do you just live 24/7? How do you relax and recharge? What's your sort of time off?
Well,
do you have any?
No.
Right.
I never really have time off. The Forex markets are open Monday to Friday.
Okay.
And I don't really trade Forex anymore. I'm full-time cryptocurrencies these days.
Okay.
Which unfortunately is 24/7.
Yeah, of course.
Which means there's absolutely no rest. And I'm more down the educational path at the moment with my business. I'm more down the mentorship route and running an app, full educational service. So my full time is dedicated these days to education especially, which means 24/7 oversight at all times. Obviously, you get downtime, but it's very, very rare. I am every single day for pretty much every single hour I'm working.
Nice.
But I enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's you kind of get to a point when you get older where once you're in that habit of continuously working, when you don't work, I feel a bit useless. I feel like a waste of space, and just I prefer to work, keep myself busy, my mind entertained. It obviously gets draining sometimes, but I don't think I'd have it any other way. And it is true, money never sleeps.
Yeah.
There's a whole ton of money out there in the world. All you need is a small portion of that to get by in life.
I used to have a do not disturb set up on my phone, and now because of the nighttime deals, I can't bear to miss them. So like I get up in the middle of the night, I need to go to the toilet or whatever.
100%.
Could sell a watch here. You know what I mean?
It's crazy. That's what's interesting, because you said earlier I'm a hard man to get hold of, and that's because my phone is always on do not disturb, because I'm always on the computer.
Yeah.
And the amount of phone calls I get and FaceTimes, and it's about prioritizing time.
Yeah.
My sister might FaceTime me, and I'll be like, "What do you want?" She'll be like, "Have you seen that new Netflix show?" I'm like, "Goodbye." I'm like, this is not the time.
But that also goes back to what you were saying earlier, because you're saying you might wait 7 months or a year for that one trade. So if that's coming through and you feel like something's cooking there, like that's bite time. Yeah. You can't miss that.
Exactly, and that's what people don't realise. I prepare for things weeks to months to years in advance, because there's different time frames on trading. You can look at a candle emerging every minute, every second, every day, every hour, whatever it is. I kind of work off a basis of every week and every month and even yearly. That way you can quite quickly understand where the market could go, whether it takes a year, 2 years, 3 years, several months. I already have that kind of general understanding and mental preparation for where it could go. So even if I'm not executing for a period of several weeks, every single day is spent just tracking, refining, and just slowly getting to the optimal buy zone until the price gets there. Nice. Same as the selling side as well. Once that entry is in, that's the hardest part of trading, is getting in at the right price. Yeah. Whereas for most people, you go on the news, you're told Bitcoin's going to 100K tomorrow, or you're told, you buy this coin at this price, it won't matter in 5 years. It absolutely fucking matters. Where you buy, the pursuit of quick riches can basically lead to very long-term consequences. Yeah. That, like I said earlier, crypto goes up in that bull run window very quickly, several weeks. But the bear markets can last years, as we've seen now.
We are in one.
700 days. So that decision you made 300 days ago would have had some very long-term consequences. And sometimes it's better to just have that money sitting in your bank ready to go, or on an exchange, and wait for that 700-day period or 800, 900-day period to end. Get in at the right prices. Once you're in at that right price, the rest is easy. If you get in as low as possible, it's pure profit, basically.
So we'll move on a little bit to places that you've been now. So I've seen the Instagram. I absolutely love it. I love seeing when you're in your travels. You've been pretty much everywhere. Where is your favourite place in the world so far?
I think it would be the Maldives. I would have to say Maldives, which is, for some people, the idea of hell, because it's isolated, very few people. It depends where in Maldives you go. Yeah. But I'm a very introverted person, as you know. That's probably one of the reasons why it's so hard to get me on this podcast. And I'm terrified of human interaction, basically. And I think just being immersed with charts so much just turns you into an introvert naturally as well. And the Maldives is almost my safe haven. Yeah. No humans in sight, couple of fish here and there. Food. Yeah, nice food, peaceful, and it's silent.
I can see how it works for you, because essentially you just need Wi-Fi and your laptop.
That's it.
Which is something that I really admire about you. And I mean, it has to be said, it's the same from a watch perspective. Obviously, we have the watches in hand, but at the end of the day, this job now it's WhatsApp focus. I mean, literally, you're just like Instagram, YouTube, WhatsApp, just speaking to people on there all day, every day.
In this day and age, it's all you really need. There's, even a regular job these days, you can work from home. And we're slowly merging more and more into that kind of technological society where, as long as you have an internet connection, that's my utmost priority. Yeah. Wherever I go, as long as there's good Wi-Fi, I can survive.
Did you have to check before you went
Absolutely.
there? Yeah, I was going to say.
You call them up, how strong is it? It can't be 10 megabytes a second.
Need to know the download speed and the upload speed.
I obviously do videos every day for my members, constant market outlooks and stuff. Yeah. And if it's a 30, 40-minute video or an hour long, it could be a gigabyte. Yeah. A gigabyte takes a long time when you've got 10 megabytes a second.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we film all in native 4K now, and our episodes are coming in at 27 gig. Yeah, because it's obviously we're doing the best quality that we can. I want to show the watches in the best light. You see our guests in the best light. So I know about these massive files, and it's just like the thought of being abroad is obviously.
And imagine uploading that.
Yeah, exactly. So what one piece of advice would you give to someone thinking of starting to invest in crypto, and how can they learn through Innovation Markets and what you're doing now? Because I know it's extremely popular.
I think the first piece of advice is it's very hard to just do one because I have so many different things to say. But I would say understand who you are as a person first. Sounds very random, but trading is a game of psychology. And when I said I started around 15, it wasn't until 20 I got to that point where I realised it is all a game of psychology. It's a battle between fear and greed. That's all the markets are. Market goes up, greed. Market goes down, fear. And if you don't understand how to conquer those emotions and control those emotions in that height of euphoria or absolute despair, you will never be able to succeed in the market. So often it's better to not rush the process, more importantly. That's a very key step because a lot of people, I'll get messages, I've got 5 grand, 10 grand, 100 grand, I want to put it in the markets. What shall I buy? And I'm like, have you done this before? Like, no. But this is I've been told to buy this, shall I buy it? And I'm like, that is just a horrible, horrible way to get into something. You have to understand what you're doing before you get involved. And to be honest, a lot of people say, do your research. Research doesn't really matter when it comes to cryptocurrencies. No. Everything goes up and down together, basically. It's all speculation.
Yeah.
You have to understand what kind of game you're playing. And I'd say the most important thing really is understanding you're not intended to win in the markets. They're not designed for you to win. We're retail traders and we're going against very wealthy, incredibly powerful people. They will always win and we will always lose. We are not there to conquer the markets. We are not bigger than the markets. We are simply passengers. It's like I consider the markets like a roller coaster or a bus.
Yeah.
The only thing you have control over is when you board that bus and when you can depart that bus. It could be at a dangerous time. It could be at a safe time.
Okay, so how can people learn everything that you teach through Innovation Markets?
So we provide a lot on our social media pages, but the actual service itself, we've built custom apps basically for mobile and desktop. So we have a desktop app and a mobile app, and it's basically an entire educational hub and platform. We've got everything from risk calculators in there, daily videos, weekly outlook videos. We do podcasts on a monthly basis. We've got course lessons. I recently just finished a video course. You probably saw it on my Instagram.
Yes.
57 videos, 49 hours.
I saw it.
Took a long time to get done. But education's priority.
Yeah.
It's absolute priority. So all they need to do is just sign up, join our app, and they're in.
So just to be clear, the amount of work that would have gone into those, is it 59 videos?
Yeah, 59 videos.
The amount of work that would have gone into those 59 videos, our channel's been running a year. We've done 52 full-length episodes and about 150 short-length episodes. So for you to have put that together, it must have taken forever.
Took about a year.
Wow.
About a year.
Good for you, man.
Thank you.
It's incredible.
And again, that's why you couldn't get hold of me.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's you physically, when I have something in my mind and I want to get it done within a set window, you just have to drop everything to get it done.
Good for you.
You lose touch with people sometimes.
Yeah,
they don't understand. But it's a priority. And now I've jumped straight into a book, doing a corresponding course book to go with that as well. 300 pages so far. Around 50% done. I don't know where it's going to end or how it's going to end just yet, but it's a work in progress. I'm basically trying to create exactly what I would have needed and wanted when I first started.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it doesn't mean you're not going to make mistakes. It doesn't mean you still won't lose money from learning, but it will hopefully reduce the process as much as possible.
Torre, knowing you and knowing your drive, this will be the first of many books, I should imagine, knowing the way that you work.
Yeah, to be fair, we've got 10 books already in the app.
Yeah.
I've just realised,
Yeah.
I've already written about 10 books in the app, but for the course book, it's going to be a much bigger one. Yes.
So for anyone interested in Innovation Markets, we will also put the link in the description there. Go check it out. It's incredible. So we're going to move on to watches now. So you are a huge AP fan, which I've mentioned earlier in the video. So let's have a little chat about watches and the first luxury watch that you bought for yourself. Was it a planned purchase, or knowing this is a silly question for Torre? Of course it was a planned purchase, but did you have an instant attraction to buy the watch? So how did it come along, your first luxury watch?
I believe it was 2017, the crypto bull run.
Yeah.
And I wanted to just delve in for the first time. And it was from you guys that I bought the first watch, actually. And that's where it all started, this lovely relationship. It was the Hublot Classic Fusion
I know the watch well.
crocodile blue strap,
Yeah.
and rose gold.
Nice.
I don't think it was I forgot what sizes they come in, 39mm or 37?
37, I think.
37. It wasn't the 41 or the 42.
It was the smaller one.
It was the smaller one, yeah. And I thought I never really understood in the beginning how expensive watches can be. And I never understood the concept of buying a watch that would be incredibly expensive. So for me, it was a midpoint between being slightly better than some Rolexes, but maybe not as expensive as going down the bigger routes. But I was quite happy with that watch. That was always a goal for me in the beginning, and I'm heavily influenced by what I see in music videos, TV, YouTube. So all the rappers were talking about Hublots.
You watch a
so
lot.
I was like, I need a Hublot. Let's go down that route. And then turns out they were not that respected in the watch world, Hublots, are they? But it is what it is.
You know, Hublot's a funny one. Like, it gets a lot of flack, but the thing is, I think certainly at their entry level, so the classic fusions and all that kind of stuff, like these watches are really good value for money for what you actually get. You know what I mean?
I think so as well.
And also as well, it's just literally like fashion and trends. You know what I mean? Like you said, all the hip hop. I was around listening to all that then. I remember it very, very well. So, do you still have that watch?
I don't.
Okay. So, what point did you stop being a guy that bought some nice watches and decided, I'm a collector? The next Bull Run?
Took the words out of my mouth, basically. It was another influx of a lot of money that made me decide, you know what, I need to put this somewhere else now. It's as simple as that, really, I think.
Being a terrible interview and putting words in your mouth, but the penny
dropped. Exactly
dropped.
what it was, yeah. I think when the next Bull Run came that just absolutely obliterated the last Bull Run, there was obviously a lot more money than sense at that point, and I was like, I want to be a bit sensible in this height of euphoria.
Yeah.
And then I've always, in the beginning, I'll be honest, I always wanted the full factories, the full diamond baguette dials and stuff like that. But I think as I've got older, simplicity is key for me. I like, and that's why I love APs so much. The non-chronos, just classic Royal Oak, is just perfect.
Yeah. So you very kindly brought a watch with you today.
Yes.
If we can have a look, that would be amazing. So,
shall I take it off?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
There we go.
So Torre is wearing his Royal Oak with the khaki green dial. This is such a clean piece. I absolutely love this watch, and you got it from us.
Absolutely.
And this is just a very special piece. What sort of drawn you towards that one?
I think it was there was obviously a bit of demand for the green dials at the time.
Yeah.
Obviously the Rolex olive dial was high in demand as well. And I already had the blue, which I got from yourselves. I had the rhodium grey dial as well.
Yeah.
And this was something different. You don't see this every day. And because it was the 50th anniversary as well, I'm also very gullible when it comes to things that are exclusive or limited.
Well, but it did work.
It did work.
It did work. Once again, I mean, that rotor was only done for 1 year, and they didn't say that at the time. So it was maybe they were going to do it, or maybe they weren't. But it was 1 year run, and it was their shortest run of any anniversary model in terms of having like a unique rotor or anything like that. So it worked.
It did, because interestingly enough, I have zero emotions in the market, but full-blown FOMO when it comes to things like this.
Yeah.
Because there is always that risk that they may never get produced again.
Yeah.
And that's what's always concerning to me.
Yeah, of course.
Being one of the people that doesn't own those things that are very limited in nature.
Or end up having to pay the silly.
And then paying the silly resale prices as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a great watch. It was a really, really good choice. And yeah, some of your APs, I've seen them. I mean, absolutely amazing. So what is it generally about the Royal Oak? I mean, you've said simplicity. Obviously, you're not as much of a fan of the chronos, that's right, isn't it? No. You like clean dials, which is why actually Torre picked this out as a watch that he's got his eye on. And this is the 15510 OR. So this is the rose with the boutique blue dial, and it is also 50th anniversary. So again, please, I mean...
Thank you. I mean, it's just so heavy.
Yeah, it's so nice, heavy. Isn't it? I love that watch.
It just stands out so much, and my favourite colours blue and green.
Right.
So to see that paired with the gold as well,
Yeah.
it's just an unbelievable watch.
So blue and green, I always gravitate towards for
Yeah.
dials. I think blue and green they drive me nuts. Even the green
Same.
Sky Dweller we had the other day. Oh, it's
yes.
so nice. I can't believe how good that green is. But AP blue with rose, I think is very hard combo to beat.
And they change in the light as well. That's the good thing about these AP dials.
Yeah.
You know, in some angles they look a bit darker.
Yeah.
Put a bit of flash on it, it's like a baby blue at some point
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
They're just, it's the simplicity as well. I think the reason why I like these so much is because you could wear it to the gym, you could wear it with a suit, I can wear it with this outfit today. They go with absolutely anything, whereas some watches can be a bit too bulky, and the colours are not that standout. The interesting thing here is sometimes it just looks like a black dial.
Yes.
You don't always catch the khaki. And the colours, they're quite nice. They don't stand out too bright. You know, as an example, I couldn't wear that with absolutely everything. That lovely watch you're wearing today,
Yeah.
it's not practical for every single event.
Yeah.
But these, they're a bit more discreet to some extent.
Of course.
You know what they are.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what they are, they may not stand out to you too much as well, which is
Yeah.
good.
I
You don't
agree.
want to be too loud.
I agree.
There's
I
a fine
also,
balance.
funnily enough, because I normally like busy dials and more complications, I
Yeah.
really do love that kind of thing. But actually, when it comes to 15510 versus the Royal Oak chronograph, I do think so. I had the rose with the blue dial chronograph the other day, and it was on a blue alligator. And I thought, wow, like such a cool watch. But actually, sort of, you know, gun to my head for that choice, I would have chosen the 15510 OR, which is, so that just goes to show how well of a job they've done, because normally I would prefer a busier dial, but on this, there's something about it, that clean, understated thing.
Because the gold does the talking.
Exactly.
And the blue's just a little extra touch, a little sprinkle. It just does the trick.
Yeah, definitely. For anyone interested in seeing the 6702 high jump that Toray likes the look of, there's a full video on that on the channel. So let's move on to this, which is interesting, and this is something me and you are in huge agreement about. So Toray has picked here the 15202. This is the jumbo, and me and Toray have got a very similar opinion on this watch, which is that we both are obsessed with it, but it doesn't look good on us. And I believe that's probably, well, what do you think? Size issue, or?
I don't know if it's a size issue with the wrist or what it is, but again, the cleanliness, the sexiness of the watch, so to speak, is so nice. But compared, once on the wrist, there's just something doesn't seem to fit as well.
Yeah.
And I'm not actually a fan of big bulky watches. As an example, some of the other APs, the chronos, they're a bit bulkier, a bit chunkier, big rubber straps. But it's just, it doesn't seem to sit that well on me.
No. So I think, so it's 39 mil, okay? So
and maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, and they call it jumbo because at the time it was huge. But I think that there's just something about that size. You have to have a general stature. And on the smaller guys, it looks so good. Like I see people wearing the watch, and it's like chinos, a shirt like the jumbo, and then you just think, oh, I love that. But then you do it yourself, and you're like,
you see all those aesthetic videos and pictures with the suits, well tailored. And as an example, when I bought this, my friend / business partner bought the jumbo. And he's a lot taller than me, a lot slimmer, and it just suited him perfectly. Whereas on me, it just feels a little bit out of place. And in theory, there isn't that much of a difference, but it's that little bit of bulkiness and size that just makes it a bit more suitable for the wrist, I think.
I feel sometimes so mad, like with my sort of passion obsession with watches, is that if I ever did hit the big time and money was no object, I'd want one in my collection. Even just to say, like, it's the jumbo's in there, because it has to be. But at the same time, I just don't think I'd get much wear out of it. But I love this watch, and I've seen it in rose and blue as well. I showed you earlier, and it's very, very nice indeed. So jumbo, just we can't seem to pull it off, Toray and I.
know. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
So, are you settled with your collection currently, or are there any new pieces on the horizon?
Never settled. Ever. There's always something new that comes out and about. I'm currently on a quest just to get all of the Royal Oaks first.
Okay.
So I've got the black and white dials left to get.
Nice.
Ideally the 50th anniversaries, because they just add that little nice touch.
We can help you out there.
Yes, that
downstairs.
is, I think that's why you've called me in today, to be honest. But one of them caught my eye downstairs earlier, the white dial. I want to complete all of the Royal Oak collections first, and then very likely progress onto the skeletons.
So
That's
that
the
brings that brings us nicely.
Yeah.
That segues us nicely. So I brought 3 very special pieces to show Torre, and he's had a little look. And I think one of the questions that I was going to ask is there a grail that you don't have? And you had already picked one
Yeah.
out. So tell us which one that isn't.
Well, now it's 2 of them. Because
Yeah, I
the
was
rainbow's
gonna
caught my
say,
attention. The skeleton's always been the one I wanted, and I was going to buy it. The period where I came and bought this one, but then I
Yeah.
bought my fiance her turquoisey dial.
Yeah.
She got the 50th anniversary as well, and I
Yeah.
was like, I'm either going to buy the skeleton, but then she stepped in and was like, I really want this watch, and I was like,
Always the
fine,
way.
okay, we'll split up the cost for this one, but this is definitely next. Again, I don't like complexities too much. I'm a very simple man, but this is it just stands out.
Okay, so guys, this has a full episode on the channel, so you can check that out. This is none other than the 26735 ST. Its nickname is the Jay-Z because he's the only other person we've seen wearing it. We've actually had 2 of these now, and this one is fully stickered all the way through, and it's a Flying Tourbillon 50th anniversary, double open worked. I mean, it's a mouthful, but yeah.
Thank you
The
very much.
Flying Torb, so when you turn the watch, the whole thing just kind of like is on a gyroscope.
Yeah.
Like, it's just such incredible watchmaking.
They're just
And
crazy.
it's steel as well.
Yeah,
Like, why?
They're
Like,
just
why did they do
absolutely
that?
insane. It's just, and I think because it doesn't affect the actual watch itself, they haven't done anything crazy to the straps or added any crazy colours. It's not that different in theory to the regular Royal Oak, so it can still be worn theoretically sportswear with a
Exactly.
suit, with whatever. And if you were wearing like a relatively basic attire, that would be the statement piece.
So it's so interesting you say that, because one of my favorite ways of like purveying like a really, really special
Yeah.
watch is when I see people wearing them and then they're wearing just completely like the most minimal outfit.
Yeah.
Because I think to myself, like, if you go like all out, like with just head to toe
Yeah.
in all the most amazing stuff and then the crazy
Yeah.
watch, but there's something about just seeing someone in
Yeah.
something so plain, so
Yeah.
simple, and then a nutty
Yeah.
piece, and it's just like, right, watch guy.
100%.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best outfits for me are just being in basic Zara or H&M trackies.
Yeah.
With the same colour, matching bottom and top. Nice little watch to pair.
Exactly.
That's
that.
often the best outfit.
Yeah.
But the rainbow, on the other hand.
Yeah, please, please.
Now, I mean,
So
it's
our
absolutely outrageous.
Our viewers are no strangers to this watch. It features heavily on
I'll
our
let you
channel.
introduce it in that case.
No problem.
It's very heavy.
Our viewers are no strangers to this watch. It features extremely heavily on our channel because we are so proud of it. Still the only people with this watch. I've never seen anyone actually have it in hand. So I'm so proud of this piece. So I will continue to show it. And I just love the way it feels. There's something so, I mean, please run
you
your
very
finger
much.
over that. So that is
I
actually done
absolutely
by
will.
hand, which you just can't even imagine the work that goes into that piece.
And considering it's complete rainbow, it looks very clean. Just very clean. It
Yeah.
doesn't actually look tacky, which some of them can, in my opinion. The Rainbow Daytona looks a little bit too tacky for my liking, but this is just...
So I am
Insane.
a huge fan of the Rainbow Daytona,
Yeah.
but where I think they did well with this, and it's something that people discuss a lot about this watch, is keeping the screws in the bezel or not. And I think actually the fact that they did it, it's actually worked, because
has.
it wouldn't be a Royal Oak if you took
No.
those screws away. And everyone was like, oh, well, it's not really like the full rainbow bezel.
No.
Listen, those screws needed to stay.
100%. 100%. Might not take this off.
No, I was about to say this could end up being a really
I know,
costly interview for you.
This goes back in the box. My God, what a watch.
Next Bull Run, Torre.
let's pray.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just been so lovely to sit here and talk watches with you and show you some pieces. There's one last little piece in the middle there, and then I do have a little. Yeah, please do. Just clip straight out. Yeah, that's it. So this is a jumbo, and it's a full factory diamond jumbo. So what's interesting about this is actually this kind of doesn't
Scared to touch it.
this doesn't really fit into what me and you were talking about, and I don't really understand why, because it is the same watch, but for some reason it just wears much bigger and it looks sort of much bigger. So actually this one you could pull off if you were a nutter, because it is just, I mean, I don't know where to wear a watch like this, but I think it is so cool. And what I love about this piece specifically is that I see a lot of these being posted on Instagram. We were discussing it earlier, and obviously they're aftermarket, and you know, the setting is just a bit all over the place. New York, you know, when you see those New York diamond dealers and they've just got tons of this stuff, like 20 in one box. But to see AP set it factory, well, for a start, when this watch first came in, I didn't even know it existed. Not that I'm the sort of master of all models, but I had certainly never seen this, so that's why it took my eye. And we try to get watches that people won't have seen. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of our niche, and it's what our clients just keep coming back to us for. You know, it's like the things.
And my first question was, is this factory?
Yeah.
Because I'd never seen anything like it.
Exactly. So, all factory, perfectly set in every way. And again, you know, if you're looking to be someone who wants to stand out, then you're doing it in that watch.
Absolutely. And that's, I'm not, as I've said, I've kind of deterred away from the diamonds and all the bust downs and all that stuff. But if you're going to do it, this is most definitely how you do it.
Yeah.
And also for the investment purposes behind these watches as well, I've never been a believer in aftermarket diamonds personally.
No.
But this...
it's because of the setting aspect. So basically, you know, when they are set aftermarket, there's just no way. It's not even in the same conversation. Like the amount of work that goes into a factory set watch, it's another level. So I'm not particularly proud of this last question, but I think it might be a profound one. So let's give it a go. Okay. Toure, you've got the lifestyle, you've got the cars, you've got the watches, but what, if anything, would you give it up for and start all over again?
Never been asked that before.
No.
It's an interesting question.
We tried to throw in the big profound one at the end.
That's a very interesting question. I've never thought about it.
So the thing is, it's if anything, right? So absolutely the correct answer to the question can be that there's no way that I would.
No, I absolutely would actually.
Wow.
And I think it would be to do it all over again, but with what I've learned now. That's probably what I'd give it up for. I don't know if that's a cliche answer or not, but it hasn't been an easy journey. It's been absolutely horrific, if anything, over the years to get to where I am today. So I think having the knowledge, giving it all up for that knowledge in the very beginning, I would definitely do it again, because once you've done it once, you realise it's attainable. The hardest thing in the beginning is, number one, perceiving that any of this stuff is possible. You know, it's very hard when you don't have this stuff or the cars or the life you want to understand that it's possible. But it's only as you finally get closer, it starts to become a bit easier to grasp all of it as well. But also just the endless mistakes and lessons along the way. I've lost millions and millions throughout the years in my early 20s. And I guess fortunately that is still young. Technically, I lost a lot of it very early, learned a lot of lessons very early on, which fortunately helped me overcome a lot of the hurdles moving forward. But I just wish I knew a lot more in the beginning. I was kind of just going through things without really being cautious, being careful. So
maybe you had to be,
absolutely,
you know, to be brave and to be the man that you are today.
At the time, it's always, you blame the world, you go, why me? This isn't fair. But actually, all of that stuff is absolutely necessary to get to the next step and level in life. I just really wish I knew all of this before and saved myself the pain. But obviously that isn't possible. And it's very rare that anyone can have an absolutely clean run in life. So that's what I would probably give it up for if I was to give it up. But otherwise, I'd rather not really at this point.
The battle scars that made you the man you are today, Toure. I cannot thank you enough for this interview. Honestly, I think you are one of the most inspiring people that I am so proud to call a friend.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming here in Jardin du Mayfair. And I expect and I hope that me and you might be able to do some more content coming up, and maybe I can come and see some of your innovation market stuff and we can cross promote that, because
Absolutely.
I know that a lot of our viewers will be very interested. I'm very interested to come and find out what you guys are doing.
Let me know. I'll be back.
Hey, Torre, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
This has
Thank
been an
you.
absolute pleasure. Thank you. And guys, thank you so much for joining me and Torre here at Jardin du Mayfair. Heaven on earth for the watch enthusiast. Click subscribe and we'll keep this content coming fresh and hot every week.
Peace.